Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. For a very brief moment, Greer thought his luck was in. He thought he was going to get something that he was really going to enjoy, but it turns out that the probe into Greer isn't what he was hoping for. Instead, they're going to be trying to ascertain why he was involved with protests outside the Scottish Parliament that blocked people from getting in. It's not the sort of thing that parliamentarians should be doing, even if they are inadequate little boys like Greer. We're going to take a look at this and then wonder why someone like this isn't being remonstrated by his own party or by the parliamentary authorities. And now that they are investigating, will it eventually turn into a suspension? Or better, throw him out entirely, go out into the real world? Then Mummy will be truly upset, because he won't be bringing back the money he is at the moment, and she'll have to go back to her old job. Let's have a look to see why Greer is such an arse. Here goes. So, Greer faces Holyrood probe after blocking Scottish Parliament entrance in an angry protest. And you can just imagine him sitting there, old soy boy, you know, the old ginger twiglet stamping his feet. Oh, no, 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 no. And pretending that he's the sort of person that's intimidating when he's angry. He's not. The Scottish Greens MSP is facing an investigation into his conduct after he organised a protest against arms dealers meeting at Holyrood, with his demonstration clashing with the police. I would have paid good money to see a policeman, a burly, hefty built policeman, pull out his truncheon, and I mean his real truncheon now, not the one that Ross wants, and crack him over the head. On your way, son. Badish. And off it went. Look at him. He's growing this beard to make himself look older. All he looks like is a 14-year-old with a stick-on beard. Doesn't look real, does it? Anyway, controversial Greens MSP and tit Greer is facing a Holyrood sleaze probe. Sorry, reading is hard. After organising a protest which blocked members of the public from getting into the Parliament building. He's been accused of bringing the Parliament into disrepute and has been reported to the Ethical Standards Commissioner for Standards over the incident, according to the Herald. The politician screamed down a microphone at attendees, and it would have been a very high-pitched scream, as though he'd seen a mouse. Eek! At the apprenticeship reception held on Wednesday night. So he's moaning, basically about apprenticeships, about kids, for the most part, 17 and 18-year-olds. And there he is. Look at me. I've made it all the way to Holyrood. I'm important. Eek. Then he goes home and it's bitty, isn't it? God's sake. Silly little man. The politician screamed down there. He said the toxic atmosphere was reported by attendees at the ADS Scotland event, which celebrated apprenticeships in aerospace and defence and jobs in that sector, which is a major employer, one of Britain's leading money earners. And if we don't do it, someone else does and earns the money. We might as well do it and get the cash it in. And just because you've got the morals of an idiot doesn't mean you can't make money. At the end of the day, the advancement of all economies is the advancement of war. Learn your history, Greer, you sad, inadequate little man. I tell you what, if there's a war, I want to see him on the front. He won't be on the front line, would he? Put a uniform on him, send it to the front line, and he would shit himself. Anyway. Protests were held due to the coalition of companies in attendance, which included arms firms like Thales and BAE Systems. Mr. Greer posted a video of himself on social media where he screamed about boycotting goods from Israel and also businesses which sell products to Israel. He's very anti-Semitic, as he continues to blame that country for the fighting in Gaza, without acknowledging that it was the Gazans coming across and beheading the babies of the Israelis. There's been 15 over the years. There's been 15 ceasefires, and it was Gaza that broke all 15. He needs to learn his history. And the very fact that he's able to stand there and say that is simply as the effect of all the soldiers who, over hundreds of years, have willingly laid down their lives to protect little turds like Greer and give them the ability to say the things they are. You'd think he'd be a bit more sympathetic rather than trying to destroy this nation through having no defensive capability. I think we do. I think we need to make Greer join the army and send him out to the front line. Don't care which front line. First one, out off he goes. When he sees that, he'll change his tune. They all do. And the trouble is, and I put the video up the other day, that we have a whole bunch of leaders and politicians in this country, none of whom, or very incredibly few, have ever worn a uniform. And unless you've ever worn the uniform, you don't know. And you are sitting there, these politicians are sitting there, sending young men off to war to die, and they've never put a uniform on, and that really annoys me. Ex-army. Anyway, he even boasted about helping to organise and lead the protest against a reception for arms dealers at Holyrood. He added that the demonstration showed the Greens had stood with the people of Gaza, not the arms dealers. Is he aware of how many arms the people of Gaza have got? Is he aware of what the Gazans do with the arms they have? And I tell you what, if Ross Greer, standing with the Gazans, was to go to Gaza, they'd take him up a very tall building and give him a quick tour of it. Very quick. 12th, 11th, 10th, 9th, 18th, ground. And that would be the end of the tour. Man's a moron, isn't he? Anyway, social media footage showed that demonstrators, some holding Palestinian flags, jostled with police and Parliament staff outside the building as they blockaded it. The scandal was brought up in the Holyrood Chamber by Scottish Tory Stephen Kerr, who accused Greer of bringing the Parliament into disrepute. Every time he turns up and opens his mouth, he does that. He said, as a point of order, he said, last night, members of the public seeking to enter this building were obstructed and intimidated, and all of this was orchestrated and trumpeted by a member of this Parliament, a Scottish Green MSP. And look, there he is. Look at me, I'm important. I'm the hardest man in the world. Get in the ring, mate. I'll put my wife in there with you. She'll batter the arse off you. Anyway, Kerr continued, this is surely unacceptable conduct for a member of the Scottish Parliament to seek to prevent members of the public entering their own Parliament. What actions will now be taken in light of last night's events to ensure safe access for the public to enter their Parliament at all times? Probably very little against him because, you know, let's all protect them all. But it goes to show exactly what Ross Greer is. And the day will come when he's no longer an MP. He'll be out in the street. He'll be a normal person, hungry because nobody will pay him. And he'll have to try and forage for his food or something. And he will just open his mouth to the wrong person. And that person will just punch his face right in. And he will sit there and moan and go, oh, that's not right, as he's picking his teeth out of the back of his throat, you know. Because he opens his mouth and he says things and he doesn't understand that he's protected. But when he's no longer protected, the world is not a good place. And the world is not a good place for people like Stephen, like Ross Greer. Because people like Ross Greer are all that, but they can't back it up. They've got no ability to relate to people. They've got no ability to see things from other people's points of views. He's got a single-minded view, and that's it, and tough, and you don't agree with it. And then he expouts it. But what he spouts is not general an opinion. It's hate. And then when somebody who's bigger than him goes, then it'll be their fault. No, Stephen. I keep saying Stephen because of Stephen Kerr. No, Ross Greer. It'll be your fault because you're an inadequate little man who's never learned how to talk to people. But that's what happens when you've never left your mummy and she's patting you on the head. You're so good, Ross, my darling. You're a handsome little boy. Your whole life. Get out into the real world. Experience it and grow a pair. They will drop one day, and when they do, the world will be a different place. Anyway, presiding officer Alison Johnson responded by saying she was not aware of the circumstances that Mr. Kerr had outlined, but it was clear the security of all buildings, users and guests is absolutely paramount. And she basically put it forward. I'm not going to go on with that, but she basically put it forward for the committee, the standards committee, to have a look at the inadequate little tit and say, why are you doing this? Hopefully they'll come back and he'll get censured and get a 7-day ban or something, and he can go off and spend a week with mummy, maybe take her out somewhere, be with her. He likes his mummy. Anyway, I shall stop there, come out, round off and come up. Do you know, I do entirely understand why he's such a hate-filled individual. Someone who loathes everything. Someone who's very nasty and frail. He's a very frail personality as well. He's got no thick skin. You can criticise him and he gets all stampy feet and all that. And I can understand it. If I woke up every morning and looked in the mirror and saw that face looking back at me, I mean, I'd be like that and all. Ooh. Grotesque little thing, isn't he? Tell you what he is. He's like an embryo leprechaun that's grown up too quick. It's like if there was a leprechaun school and he was, he was there and he sort of somehow escaped. That's what it is. No, good job. Patrick Harvey found him, takes him under his wing, and other things. Anyway, I shall stop there. Thank you very much for watching. Do please hit the subscribe button, ring the bell, leave a like, leave a comment. Please share the video. And until tomorrow, till next video. I'm not finished yet, mate. Long day. I will speak to you later.